Hey everybody, Alex here, and welcome to an all-American pickup video. This, this is this is a mess. I truly don't even know where to start with any of this because I am literally like maybe 2 feet away from the desk as the camera adjusts itself. Because there are literally so many things in front of me that I thank God I got a boom arm because otherwise this would not happen. But the mic is like super close, so this actually may come in a little bit louder than normal, but whatever, I'll fix it up. So I participated in a Secret Santa and I fucked up. Um, I received a package from my Secret Santa, and I also received a package with a trade that I was doing with Emperor Fox. Now, the trade with Emperor Fox, like, I had him for Secret Santa. He already put up a video. So I put all my Secret Santa stuff into his package for the trade. And when I got his trade, there was a surprise inside. And I was like, oh, cool. He was my Secret Santa. And I thought nothing of it. And then I got another package from Man Boy Cave, who actually was my Secret Santa. But given the fact that he's randomly just mailed out gag gifts in the past, I honestly thought nothing of it. I opened it and then saw a bunch of stuff and went, "Oh boy, this is embarrassing," because I literally ripped everything apart already. Um, and as of this recording, I've actually put some of it away, which is even worse. So I'll go through the Secret Santa thing first because honestly, that is really cool. So first things first, just like the first year when he had me for Secret Santa, he did get me something Diet Coke related. He last time he got me a pillow, which has been on my couch ever since, and this time he got me a Christmas ornament, which is actually on the tree. So pretend that this is a Diet Coke can with a Santa hat. So thank you for that. Also, keeping up our trend or our theme of elite licensed DS games, he found for me a complete box copy of, there it is again, iCarly on the Nintendo DS. Actually, I believe it's complete. It is complete. Thank you, Bobby. This this is incredible, and it literally sits up with the Sega Saturn games, aka the most expensive collection I have, which is right next to my complete sealed copy of Cory in the House, also on Nintendo DS. In terms of games, he did get me one game from my list. These were not on my Secret Santa list, by the way. This is just him knowing me. He did get me a copy of Metaphor Refantasio, which I'm currently playing. It's in my PlayStation 5 right now. And I really do like it. It honestly, this video should have been shot a lot earlier in the day if it wasn't me playing Metaphor Refantasio. And I waited to play it and pick it up just because I was doing other stuff at the time. But here's the deal. I mean, I went in completely blind, to be perfectly honest, and I really like what Atlas is doing with this game in particular. And I'm not going to get into specifics because you can experience it yourself. But long story short, if you've played a Persona game, there's a lot of familiar stuff in here. If you played a Fire Emblem game, there is a lot of familiar stuff in here. Even the music, some of it sounds kind of Fire Emblem-ish, which is kind of interesting. And I do find myself from time to time forgetting which game I am playing. Am I playing an Atlas game or an Intelligent Systems game? Either way, it's super cool, and I really am enjoying this kind of wacky lore that they got going on in Metaphor. You know, it's a little bit of your traditional fantasy, and it's not really like a steampunk thing. It's more like a mage punk thing, like just very weird contraptions. And pretty much when it came to picking this game out of my list, Bobby was pretty much just like, I couldn't believe this was on your list, so I bought it. Like, he's like, there's no way in hell you shouldn't have this game by now. And he was playing it at the time. He's since stopped, but I'll let him talk about it himself. Um, he also knows I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, even though I haven't actually played Yu-Gi-Oh in a while. So he got me some blind boxes, or rather a box of Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster blind boxes. So some of them I already have displayed, but the one I really wanted, because I wasn't sure if it was 100% guarantee or not, was the winged Karibo. Now, focus. Come on, camera. And it doesn't want to. It wants to focus on me. God bless you, camera. Um, the Karibo, the Karibo. Essentially, in Yu-Gi-Oh lore, a Karibo is basically like, oh no, he's gonna kill my monster. No, I throw a Karibo at it, and then that way the Karibo dies and your monster doesn't. But more importantly, he was channeling a little bit of Devil May Pai, or DMP as he's so lovingly called, and he did get me a little statue of the Dark Magician Girl from Pop-Up Parade. Now, I do have a statue of. I'm not going to do what you think I'm going to do, by the way. I do have a statue of a dark magician, which is arguably my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh monster, and I actually do play a dark magician deck. I've mentioned this a few times, and Dark Magician Girl is in that deck. So I actually have them over here on the side behind this custom Exodia thing I got back at Midwest Gaming Classic 2 years ago. So thank you so much, Bobby. And I am so sorry that I did not do this earlier. And I really do wish I recorded myself opening up the box and ripping off the wrapping paper, because it was actually really well wrapped. And, Bobby's just such a kind dude, and he really spoiled me with all this stuff. I don't know how much all this cost, but this was definitely over the cap that we set for the Secret Santa. So for that, I am deeply grateful. And I'm happy you enjoy the little thingy I sent you, but he'll talk about that in his own video. Now, as for the trade that I did with Emperor Fox, I had a God of War Ragnarok controller that he was looking for, and he did not want to pay what it's going for currently, and he was even looking for it at the Midwest Gaming Classic, and we didn't even see it. And I had one, but I also wanted to get a Xenoblade Chronicles X Collector's Edition because I only had the vanilla one. And long story short on that one, I was so angry with the game back in the day, I actually just threw it out. I know I should know better. I know. I need a drink. I should know better. And ironically, he was like, I'm trying to clear out some space. And I was like, you know what? They're kind of both going for the same thing. So let's just go 1-for-1. So he traded me. Mind you, I already had the game, so he kept the game. A complete and very good condition copy. I have to figure out what the hell I'm doing with this damn camera, man. I think it's picking up on all the faces. Complete copy of Xenoblade Chronicles X Special Edition on the Nintendo Wii U. Okay, that was driving me crazy. I think I fixed it. It has since been announced for the Nintendo Switch. But I'm not really bent out of shape about that, truthfully, because I have every other collector's edition for Xenoblade, so I kind of was missing this one. It was really getting on my nerves. Now, the reason why I thought he was my Secret Santa is when I opened up the box to put my copy of Xenoblade in there, there was a copy of Balatro, which was also on my Secret Santa list. And, at that point, I was just like, oh, cool, awesome. I didn't realize you were my Secret Santa. How did this work out? And it didn't. But I opened this just to check out the cards. I haven't played it yet, only because it's Balatro. I know what's going to happen the minute this goes in my Nintendo Switch. And I promised Bobby I would get to Metaphor ReFantasio after I finished the last game I was playing, which was Alien Stark Descent. So I'm living up to that promise, and man, I still feel terrible. Hey, all right, moving along from that stuff, we did pick up 2 Evercade games. See, this is what I'm talking about. I have to consolidate here. We have Toa Plan Arcade Collection 3. This includes Batsugun Truxton 2 and Outzone. And then we also picked up the Data East Arcade 2, which includes Crudbuster, Midnight Resistance, which honestly isn't all that great, and Super Burger Time. But they also have a bunch of other shooters in here. I think this one has Target Earth on it as well. There's some other shooter in here. I can't remember the name of it. It's not all that good, but I remember Target Earth is on this one. But this one also has Joe and Mac, but I have Joe and Mac like 50 times. Those are just the shout outs I was looking for since these things aren't really that expensive. Also got 2 retro titles. Basically, in my trimming, I used a website for a game store, East Starland actually. And they do a thing where you can get cash or credit. And the irony was I went for cash and credit because I needed both. So I finally picked up a copy of White Knight Chronicles 2 on the PlayStation 3. If you don't know, I know a bunch of people have mentioned this. This actually has White Knight Chronicles 1 on it. And I do know since there is no more online, you can't do all the terror building stuff. And this is a level 5 game, and I am really hit or miss with level 5 games, but this is one of those things where it's never ever going to come out anywhere else. It's never going to get a remaster. It didn't do all that well, I think. So if I do not pick it up this way, I'm probably never ever going to be able to check it out. And I got a copy of Record of Argus War 2, pretty much because I had to hit the free shipping thing, and this was basically I either spent that much money or I just picked up a game with it, and that was it. And there was something else I picked up, but that was a gift for somebody else. So it all worked out. Stupid edition time. Because believe it or not, we still pick up stupid editions here on the Return to Mother Base program. And this is one that came in a while ago. Man, this is so awkward. Ravi Ribby on the Nintendo Switch. This is the Japanese version. This game came out a very, very long time ago. It's a very fan service driven Metroid style, Castlevania style game. It's very good. I've played it before. I've never finished it. It was released by limited run on the Vita and the PS4 at one point. Then it went stupid rare. And then, the dark days of 2020 happened. And I thought, hey, let's make a mint. And I did that. And then I got it digitally on the Switch. And then all of a sudden this edition came out, and it was like a bargain price after the exchange rate. So I thought, why not? And pretty much I think I'm finally going to try to play and finish it through this version. Now, these really aren't special or stupid editions. Rather, these are more like the XC Day 1 things. Picked up a copy of Slitterhead. Didn't realize it actually came in a box like this. This actually got discounted already. From what I understand, it really has not and probably will not perform all that well. This is the new joint from the original Silent Hill team, I believe. And I know very little about it, to be completely honest. I just saw a trailer and thought, yep, this kind of looks like a Silent Hill-ish style game. So we're going to check it out. And that is what we do here on the Return to Mother Base program. But Daniel from the Gaming Journal podcast, he had mentioned he picked up a while ago, and even he was saying I don't think he had played it at the time, but even from what he checked out, he was like, I grabbed this because I don't know if it's ever going to be readily available, in the future because it bombs so much. There's not likely to be another print run, which I agree with. But he was also like, I'm not telling you to run out and buy it. And I only got it because it was on a discount, but it was on my radar to start. And I also picked up a copy of Potionomics on the PS5. I've actually been eyeing this game on Steam for the longest time. It is a deck building business simulation game with some relationship building and I think romance elements in there as well. Think of it like Atelier meets Moonlighter meets like any sort of like business management sim, like what's the one I'm thinking of? Like Tavern Master or anything like that, and throw in some deck building. And the character designs look amazing. And I've watched a bunch of reviews of it only because I'm like, I can't tell if I'm going to like this game or not. And I was originally just going to get on Steam and call it quits, but then they announced voice acting and everything else on the PS5 and the Switch. And I watched some performance things. I was like, okay, the game looks a little fuzzy, but based on what you're doing, frame rate isn't a big deal. Maybe I'll play it on the Switch, and if it has touch controls or touchscreen controls, even better. I don't believe it does, but when I saw a side-by-side, No. PS5 it is, especially when you can catch it on sale and use a portal. And it was literally only $10 more to get this as opposed to the Steam version on a Steam Winter sale. So I thought, why not at that juncture? And I really don't know what's going on with this camera, man. It insists on going in and out today, even though I've turned off every form of auto framing. So I don't know what to tell you. I just gotta get this video. All right, we're doing this really quick. I realize that. All right, moving on to the Switch. VG, I know it is. It's me putting up my hand, I think. VGP is doing, at least as of this recording, they're doing their annual, we're going to put everything on sale for 2.5 months deal. And obviously, I picked up a bunch of stuff. It takes them a little while to ship it out because they, from what I gather, I think it's like a 3-man, 4-man team, and there's like 400,000 people ordering things. So when people complain that it takes too long, listen, guys, you're not going to play all this shit immediately. Like, let's be honest. If you were looking to play a game immediately, you would have done in-store pickup at your local Wally World or something, you know? So anyway, I picked up a bunch of stuff from them, as well as some import stuff from PlayAsia that finally came in. So for the import stuff, finally got my copy of Wolfang and Skullfang. These are 2 more of the Sega Saturn tribute games. I imagine Limited Run is going to pick these up at one point. I actually did have both on the Sega Saturn. One's a side-scrolling mech game, and the other one is a vertical-scrolling shmup. Is it vertical scrolling? Is it? I believe, yeah, it's vertical scrolling. Yeah, they're sequels to one another, actually. There is some English in this, not a lot. You don't really need it, but in terms of scoring stuff, I think it may be helpful to look some stuff up just so you know what's going on. But after that, you're good to go. There is a plot in Wolfang. It doesn't matter. But we all know this is going to come through Limited Run, but it's less expensive just to import it. And same thing fell true for Clock Tower Rewind. You also get a better cover this way too. I have played the original Clock Tower. It is a very point-and-click driven game, only on the Super Nintendo. Never finished it. To be honest with you, it was around the times of here it comes, the glorious days of the YouTube gaming community, and everybody was shouting out Clock Tower and fan translations and repro carts. And Clock Tower was always one of the ones that was mentioned alongside Terranigma, Dragon Quest III, the Chrono Trigger sequel, Crimson Echoes, amongst other things. And a lot of folks were actually buying games from, I think it was Time Walk games back in the day. And they were like the forerunner of doing repro carts with like boxes and everything else. And it was also around that time like reproductions and counterfeits started to get really bad. So that went from being like a really cool thing to a really gray area thing to a real negative thing. And now when people make repros, they tend to purposely make them with different color cartridges and throw stickers on them so you can tell it's a fake, which I appreciate at this point. But, you know, for me, I have maybe 2 or 3 repros in my collection still. And that's only because obviously, you know, A, nobody wants them. And B, you know, they're kind of unique. You know, like I have a repro of Marvelous. I do have the Crimson Echoes for Chrono Trigger, which I've never played. I have a fan translation of Mother 3, fan translation of Fire Emblem Burning Blade, and then a fan translation through, I think it's Fishy Face Games for Star Ocean Second Story Blue Sphere on the Game Boy Color. But other than that, you know, I really don't. I have an Terranigma, but these are all older. I actually tend to stay away from reproductions and all that stuff at this point, unless it's an official re-release. Obviously, these 2 titles are a little bit older, but I got them on, you know, buy 2, get 1 from Best Buy, and then the way I film these things, they just fell through the cracks. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and Mario and Luigi Brothership, which has been getting very weird reviews. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, the Switch can't handle it. Even Nintendo guys can't handle it anymore. And, you know, maybe that's the case, but guess what? We all keep buying them. So, you know, why reinvent? And, you know, again, I'm going to say it again. The Switch 2 is just going to have a bigger screen. That's it. And they're going to call it the new Switch. and everybody's going to buy it, and then they're not going to know what to do with it. Celestia Chain of, I think it's Echoes. No, sorry, Chain of Fate. This is an Otome game from P Cube. Reynatus on the PS5 got this on a deal at Amazon. This thing got discounted hard and fast. It's a Furyu game, so I did completely expect reviews to be very strange. And by strange, I mean some people love it, some people hate it, some people were like, why does this exist? Some people really like the collaboration stuff they did, and some people were like, obviously they need this collab money because otherwise this game would have never came out. It doesn't look outstanding, to be fair, but it is that sort of game where I feel like I'll use El Shaddai as an example because that's the first game that comes to my mind. It is strange enough that I really want to check it out. And El Shaddai, honestly, is one of my favorite games. It is by far one of the strangest things I've ever played. And I'm not comparing the two, but in terms of like how odd it is, like that's really it. El Shaddai is an artsy fartsy game at the end of the day, and god damn this camera. But regardless, it is something I wanted to check out. Also grabbed a copy of Cocoon. This was also on sale for $20. I really like these limbo style, adventure-y, like, exploration, narrative-driven, puzzle platformy things. And I've had the rest of them physically. I originally was just going to play Cocoon on Game Pass, but Aliens Dark Descent took over my life for like the better part of a month. That game is, I'm sorry, it's really fucking good. But by that point, that got discounted. So I think it's one of those things where I feel like I may just return this. Not because I don't want it, but I also feel like, and it's like, it's $20, but I could use $20. It's not something I think is a priority for me to play immediately, or at least to own physically. But then the other part of me is like, I own every other game that those guys have done physically because I really do enjoy them. This was a day one pre-order and pay in full. That is Capcom versus SNK Chaos. SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos. This is the Japanese version, which does play in English. Limited Run Games is also doing their own version, which is still not out. So obviously we did it this way because it was less expensive, amongst other things. And I'll be completely honest. Capcom versus SNK is a better game, but I do like SNK. I do not remember this game being so fucking hard. I could not even beat the first level, the first fight for like the longest time, and I was sober. I was like, why am I having so many difficulties with this? I was like, I gotta go to Ken. Ken's my boy. Couldn't win. And again, this is another one of those instances, just like, Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland. I look at my wife, I say, take me out back, I'm done. That's pretty much it. It is a really difficult game. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because I didn't play as much of it versus Capcom versus SNK. Because I only saw an arcade cabinet of this once. And I rented it on the original Butt Box from Blockbuster once, and I played it with my buddy like a handful of times, and we were just like, let's go back to Capcom versus SNK. But this is one of those things where, they give it the rollback netcode and everything else. And, amongst other fighting game compilations that came out, this one, I'm not going to say it stood the test of time, but it is something of a time capsule from when I was a kid. But this thing, on the other hand, day one. That was a day one, man. What sorcery happened to get all the licensing from Marvel, from Disney, to re-release physically all games on a disc, Marvel vs. Capcom in this fighting collection, and to throw in the Punisher game? This is a brilliant collection. I think the ports are phenomenally done. They do the same thing with the museum. You can listen to arguably the best Captain America theme ever from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on loop. It's such an excellent collection. I'll tell you, it is nice that they gave you everybody unlocked to start for Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because there's a lot of characters. But when I was playing with one of my buddies online, we were just going through each game, and then we did a co-op run of Punisher together because I'd never played it. I think I kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom 1 the most now. And it's not because of the fighting mechanics. I just felt like and I'm not like saying I'm better at it, but I feel like I'm much more controlled and strategic playing that one. Like I have the timing down so I always get Iceman, like that's as an assist character, like that sort of thing. And even my buddy was like, wow, you're really good at getting Iceman because I have that timing down so well. But it's a really fun fucking collection, guys. Like, even if you're not into fighting games, and I say this to everybody, if you're not into fighting games and you just want to have an excuse to mash buttons and look like you know what you're doing, you play one of these games. Play Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Put on easy. The game does have like some button prompts to make supers and ultras a lot easier to pull off. There isn't like an input lag, but I think inherently the way the old games were coded, I'm just used to a better response time because I tried different controllers and it's definitely not the TV or anything. So I'm thinking I'm just misremembering, but I haven't actually bothered to boot up my Dreamcast to see if it is in fact just me or not. But they're other than that, they're fucking phenomenal. I highly, highly, highly recommend them. One Last Breath. This is another one of those puzzle platformy, narrative-driven games. Not that long. It's really only 2 to 3 hours. If you are interested in it, please, please, please make sure you catch it on sale. I think it retailed for like $39.99. You're not going to get that mileage. You're just not. White Day 2, the complete season or complete edition. So I played the original White Day. And I really enjoyed it. White Day is one of the OG Korean horror games where basically you're a student who decides to go to school at night. I don't know why. With nobody there. Again, don't know why. White Day, I think, is a day of romance, I believe. And I think he wanted to leave flowers in a girl's desk or some nonsense. But the janitor is apparently out of his mind and will chase you around the school, and there's like a whole devil demon worship thing and sacrifices, and apparently a bunch of other kids broke into the school too, and it's basically like a Scooby-Doo mystery. This is the sequel, which apparently was released episodically, and each episode has a different protagonist, but everything takes place within the same school. That's all I know because I wanted to go in blind, but I enjoyed that first game as janky as it was. There's like 50 endings as well. So I only got one where I saved the day. And then I got one where I think they summoned Satan or something. I don't remember. But I just remember I got one good ending and one bad ending. It's really cool. They are super janky. You could tell there was a budget. But White Day has been on PC for a very, very long time. But this one, I don't even remember when White Day 2 came out. I just remember seeing the announcement it was coming to consoles. And I was like, oh, cool. Oh, wait, this has apparently been out for a minute. Silent Hill 2, I don't know what happened, but at one point Walmart had this for $30. I don't know how that happened. I don't know why Amazon bothered to match it. I also don't know why I decided at 2 a.m. just to order it and hope to God they didn't cancel it, because this literally just showed up yesterday, and I'm recording this. I'm sorry, this only showed up today, and I'm recording this on December 26th. This order's from November. I don't know. I don't know. Got a double dip in here. Star Ocean, Second Story R. P&P Games had this on sale for like $20, and this was my game of the year last year for 2023. So, and I played that on the Switch, and I'm slowly moving everything over to the PS5. I've mentioned this before. It runs perfectly fine on the Switch. It looks great on the OLED. Like, none of that is bad. But I have every other Star Ocean game on a PlayStation platform, right? So part of me is like, except for the Game Boy Color one that I mentioned earlier. But, as it were. Final Fantasy, what the hell is this thing called again? The Collection, apparently. A pixel remaster. There you go. I have the Asian version of this on the Switch. Woot had this for like $39.99 or $44.99 or something like that when this game retails for like $69 or $74. Don't know why. I thought this is one of those things where do I absolutely need it? No. But if I don't get it, maybe down the line I'll want it. And if I am thinking about trying to get everything on a PlayStation driven system, if this, these rumors with the Portal becoming its own thing or maybe a new version of it and all this crap, then it only makes sense for me to do something like this, which not really. But the other part of it too is it is kind of cool to have all the Final Fantasies 1 through 10 on the Switch, but it's also cool to have them all on the PlayStation as well, with the trophies and all the other shit. So I don't know. It was complete impulse. I'm basically just trying to cover my ass. Pathless, this was a recommendation from Ree Louie. He told me I have to check this out. Caught this on a super sale used, so I figured I'd check it out. I'll let you know how that goes. And then the last two games, American Express had a deal with Amazon that I apparently never redeemed. I thought I did. Where if you spent $80, you got like $20 off. So I did that, and I got myself a copy of Ys Nordics as well as Trails from Daybreak. These games are not going on sale, and I've said this before and I say again, I was playing with fire waiting for this one to go on sale, and it just never did. And guess what? It's not even on Amazon, at least as of this recording anymore. Nordic still is because it's fairly new. However, as I bumped the microphone, however, of course, it arrives the day that Falcom says that they're redoing Ys Nordics with new shit. So that's kind of annoying because I would have waited. But it is what it is. As is when it comes to DLC. If it's not out when I'm playing the thing, I haven't even bought Episode Igus yet for Persona 3 Reload. I will eventually do it, but it has to be on sale. That's just kind of how I see it. But I'm gonna play it. I have no doubt I'll enjoy it. It can't get any worse than 9. If you ask me, I just hope to God there's no more tower defense, because that to me is just, it's gross. Anyway, those have been the All-American Pickups. Thank you once again to Bobby, my Secret Santa, Manboy Cave here on YouTube. And again, I'm sorry for not recording it the right way and doing its own individual video. I completely botched up on that one. I also apologize for this camera because it has a mind of its own, clearly. And also, a huge thank you to Emperor Fox for the surprise in the trade. I've been Alex. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Take care.